Hello, my name is Yusuf and welcome to today's first lesson. In today's lesson, we will be looking at an important grammar rule, and it is called the verb to be. So, what is the verb to be? The verb to be tells us something about the conditions or information of people, things, places, or ideas. Let's repeat that again. The verb to be tells us something about the conditions or information of people, things, places, or ideas. Now, the verb to be consists of three main elements, okay? The am, the is, and the are. Once again, the verb to be consists of three main elements: the am, the is, and the are. So we said that the verb to be consists of the am, the is, and the are. But the question is, how do we use it from a grammatical point of view? Now let's look at here, okay? We have with us the subject and we have with us the verb to be. Now let's pause here for a second. What is the subject? By definition, the subject is the person or the thing that does an action, okay? Once again, the subject by definition is someone or something that does an action, all right? So we have different types of subjects, okay? So we have the I, we have the he, we have the she, we have the it, we have the we have the you, and we have the they, okay? Now for each subject, we shall be using a different verb to be, okay? So for example, if you look at here, with I, what verb to be are we using? We're using am, okay? Am. So for example, in my case, I am a teacher, okay? Or maybe in your case, I am a student, all right? Now let's look at the second category of subjects. We have the he, we have the she, and we have the it. Now for he, she, it, we will not be using the verb to be am, we'll be using the verb to be is, okay? So for example, he is a teacher, she is a doctor, it is a cat, all right? Good. Now, let's look at the subjects we, you, they. For these, we use the verb to be are. For example, we are football players. You are a good person. They are tourists, people who come from a different country to come and visit your country, okay? So let's quickly recap. We have different types of subjects, and for each subject we'll be using a specific verb to be. So with I, we use am. With he, she, or it, we use the verb to be is, correct? And the remaining, we, you, and they, we use the verb to be are, right? Good. So we previously looked at how we can use the verb to be grammatically, okay? So we looked at the subject and we looked at the verb to be. Now, looking at this picture, we're trying to use the verb to be to find out some sort of information about this gentleman. Okay, now let's read together. Okay, it says I am 40 years old. Okay, so what do you think? Is he telling us something about his job? No. Is he telling us something about his family? No. Is he telling us something about his friends? Obviously not. So the only correct answer is he's telling us about his age. Now, what did we say? What did we say just a few moments before? With the subject I, when the person is talking about himself, or in the case of a woman, herself, what verb to be do we use? We said am. So in this case, he's using the subject I with the verb to be am. And he's telling us, as we said, about his age. And that he is what? 40 years old. Okay? Are we clear on that? Fantastic. Now, we have another example. Okay? Let's read together. She is a doctor. Okay. She is a doctor. Now, the previous example, the person was actually talking about himself. So he used the subject I. But here, we are using the subject she when we are referring or talking about someone else, a female in this case. Okay, so we can see a young doctor. She's smiling, probably she's happy in her job, and with the subject she, which verb to be did we say we will be using? Was it am, was it are, or was it is? So the correct answer is So we've used is in this example. So she is a doctor. All right. Now, is she telling us something about her age? No. Is she telling us something about her friends? No. So obviously she's telling us something about her job. And we said that the verb to be gives us information about the condition of a person or a thing. And in this case, what's her condition? What's her situation? That she is a doctor. Clear? Fantastic. Let's move on to the next example, shall we? All right. So in this picture, we can clearly see there are a lot of people gathered in one place. Okay? Okay. And I can see a young boy sitting on top of his father. All right? So they're carrying a flag. They're carrying a flag. All right. Now, which flag do you think it is? Which country? All right. Is it America? Oh, obviously not. So it's the neighbor of America. It is Canada. All right. It is Canada. Now, the subject that we're looking at here is they. When we're talking about a group of people, they. Okay. So they are from Canada. They are from Canada. Now in this case, we're not talking about their job, we're not talking about their family, we're not talking about their friends, but we're referring to which condition do you think? Okay, we're talking about the country that they have come from. Okay, clear? So we have used the subject they with the verb to be are, and we are referring to the country that they are from. Clear so far? Very good. Excellent. Let's continue. Now, this is a lovely picture. We can see a very, very young baby. We can see a gentleman. It looks like he is asleep, most likely. And the baby looks pretty happy and pretty content. All right? It's a lovely picture. Now, which subject are we looking at in this example? Okay, let's read together. You are a father. Okay, you are a father. Now, what subject are we using? You. And we use the subject you when we are talking about a specific person, one person, you. All right? So we can say you are a teacher, or you are a father, or you are a student. All right? Good. Now, if you look back to the grammatical point, what did we say we use the subject you with? Obviously, the answer is are. So, in this case, the verb to be is telling us the condition of this person. Now, reading the sentence, it says you are a father. Okay, so it's telling us something about his family status. His family status. Another name for status or a synonym, okay, is position. His family's position. So if you're married and you're a man, you are a father. If you're married and you're a woman, you're a mother, provided that you have children. Okay? So the verb to be here is are, the subject is you, and the condition is the family's status. Okay? Clear. Fantastic. Let's move on quickly now to the next example. Now, in this example, we can see that it is raining. It is raining. We can see an umbrella. There's a lot of rain that is falling from the sky. And overall, it's a nice feeling. Okay, personally, I enjoy rain. I don't know about you, but I love the rain. Okay? Okay, maybe because I'm living in a very hot country. We don't get to see a lot of rain. So when I do see the rain, I feel happy. I feel excited. Okay, good. Now, the subject here, my friends, is it. All right, it. Now, we use it for things that are, not referring to a human. Okay, so going back to our lesson again, what did we say? We use the subject it with the verb to be is. Excellent. And what is happening here? There's a lot of rain, so it is raining. Okay. Now, what is the verb to be telling us? What condition is this person with the umbrella in? Obviously, it's telling us something about the weather. Okay. Sometimes the weather is hot. Sometimes the weather is amazingly beautiful, like it's raining. Sometimes in the winter it's very cold. So, in a nutshell, the condition that we're referring to here is the weather. Okay, the weather. All right, and don't forget, how many seasons do we have in a year? We have got, you can tell me? We've got summer, spring, autumn, and winter. Yeah, these are the 4 main seasons. Fantastic. Clear so far? Excellent. Let's jump to the next example. Okay. Now, in this picture, we can see a group of young people. Okay, so we can see 3 young women and 2 young guys, or men, as we like to call them. Okay. Now, they're telling us something about themselves. Okay. So each one of them is holding onto the shoulder of others. Okay. So they're saying, we are friends. We are friends. Okay, we are friends. Now, the subject here is we. What did we say? We will be using the subject we with the verb to be are. Correct? Okay, so we are friends. And what's the condition here? Friendship. Friendship. So the verb to be is telling us about the connections that they have with themselves. The connections that they have with themselves. Sometimes you could say, we are a family. For example, you're sitting at the dinner table with your mother, with your brother, with your sister, sometimes with your cousins, sometimes with your nephews and nieces. So we are all a family. But here, okay, they're not a family, they're friends, and it's telling us about their relationship or their connections. Okay, how close they are together. Clear? Very good. Excellent. Now, in the next few examples, we will be looking at how we use the verb to be in a positive sentence, in a negative sentence, and sometimes when you're trying to make a question. Okay? Fantastic. Clear. Now, we will be looking at how we will be using the am verb to be in the positive, in the negative, and in the question format. Okay? In the positive, in the negative, and in the question format. Now, let's look at the picture here. We can clearly see a young man. He's dressed very nicely in a suit, nice tie, and it looks to me that he's a businessman. Okay, a businessman, maybe a successful businessman, someone with some money. All right. Now, let's look at the first sentence, the positive sentence. All right. Now, when you are sure about yourself and you're using the subject I, so for example, in my case, I say, I am a teacher. I am a teacher. Okay? You're sure, 100%. Now, he's a businessman. He's definitely sure. He has a business where he's making some money. So what is the positive for that? I am a businessman. I am what? A businessman. He's sure. Suppose that he is not so sure. Okay? Suppose he's not so sure. Do you think he's going to be positive? Obviously not. It's going to be negative. All right? So in the negative, what do we say? For him, I am not a businessman. Maybe he is just a customer service support assistant, for example. For example. Okay? So he will say, no, I'm not a businessman. Okay? But if he's sure, I am a businessman. Negative, I'm not a businessman. Okay? And sometimes, using the subject I, you can make a question. So you can say, in my case, for example, am I a teacher? Am I a teacher? Sometimes, when my students give me a hard time in the class, I say to them, hey, am I the teacher or you're the teacher? I know I'm the teacher, but I'm just, trying to, calm them down a little bit. So in this case, am I a businessman? Meaning, am I really that bad? So, am I a businessman? Yeah? So, in this case, what we do, we take the verb to be, am, and we put it at the beginning of the sentence. Okay? At the beginning of the sentence with capital A. Right? So, we say, am I a businessman? Okay? Let's quickly recap. So, if we're trying to use the subject I in the positive, you say, I am, in this case, I am a businessman. In my case, I am a teacher. In your case, I am a student. If it is negative, I am not a businessman. Sorry, I'm just in the reception area. In my case, I'm not a teacher. I'm just a teacher assistant, for example. Okay? And if you want to make a question, you take the am verb to be and you put it at the beginning of the sentence. So you say, am I a businessman? Am I a teacher? Am I a student? Okay, am I a writer, for example? Clear? Excellent. So this was for using the subject, the verb to be, am. Okay? Now, in the next slide, we will be looking at how we use the verb to be is. Okay? We have another example. Let's look at this example, shall we? In our previous example, we used the subject, I, with the verb to be, am, in the positive, in the negative, and in making a question. All right? Now, in this slide, we will try to use a different example. Okay? And we shall be using now the is verb to be. Okay? Now, we can clearly see a young lady. She is holding a couple of books, and it seems to me that she is a student. All right, she's a student, maybe in her final year of university or college. All right, excellent. Now, the subject that we're using here is that of she, but we have given her a name, Suzanne. Okay, so instead of saying she, we're going to say Suzanne. All right. Now, the positive says here, Suzanne is a student in London. Suzanne is a student in London. Now, looking at the picture, if we're sure that Suzanne, she, is a student in London, we say she is a student in London, for example. Okay? Fantastic. And that is for the positive. Excellent. What about the negative? If you remember the previous slide, we said, for example, I am not a businessman. Now we can't use that obviously here. So we have to continue with the verb to be is, but this time we have to add not. Okay? So in this case, Suzanne is not a student in London. So let's say she's a student. Okay? But we know she's a student in Cambridge or Oxford, or for example in Cumbria. You can say, hey, Suzanne is not a student in London. She is a student in Cumbria, or she's a student in Dorset, or she's a student in Cambridge or Oxford. Okay, that is the negative. Clear? With the she, we use the verb to be is and the negative not. Okay, clear? Good. Now, if you remember the previous example, the am, verb to be, when we were making a question, we said that we will put the am at the beginning of the sentence, but provided that we make it capital. The same structure we're going to be using here. What is the verb to be here? Is. So we're going to take the is, put it at the beginning of the sentence, okay? Make the I capital. Is Suzanne a student in London? The person asking is not so sure. For example, in my case, is Mr. Yusuf a teacher in our college? He's not so sure. It could be a yes or it could be a no. All right. So, is Suzanne a student in London? If I'm sure, I'll say yes, she is a student in London. If I'm not so sure, we shall be using the negative. No, she is not a student in London. She's a student in Cumbria. Okay? Are we clear? Excellent. Now, let's look at the next example, but this time, instead of using the am or the is, we will be using the verb to be are. So far, we've looked at using the verb to be am and the verb to be is in the three different conditions, in the positive, in the negative, and in the question format. We still haven't looked at how to use the are. Okay? Now is our opportunity. Let's look at this example. Now we have clearly from the picture two gentlemen, and they're dressed as engineers. So probably they're working in a construction site, in a factory site, but definitely they look like they're busy. Okay? And from the face you could tell they're having a good day. All right, they're enjoying the job. All right, let's read the positive. Okay, we have given them the name of Jack and Marvin. Jack and Marvin are engineers at Balfour Limited. At Balfour Limited. Now, Jack and Marvin, these are two people. Okay. Now in English, when we have the plural, okay, we usually use they. All right, we usually use they. But here we've just decided to use the name Jack and Marvin. Okay, and if you remember, way before, in the first slide, we said that the subject, they, we use the verb to be are. Okay, so for example, they are engineers. We have teachers, they are teachers, and we have students, They are students. In the positive, we are sure. We're sure here that Jack and Marvin are really engineers at Balfour Limited. So we've used the positive verb to be are here. Clear? Excellent. What if we are not so sure? We're going to have to use the negative. So with the verb to be are in the negative, we say are not. Okay? Just like we've used for Suzanne, she is not, or Suzanne is not. Here we say Jack and Marvin are not, or for short, aren't engineers at Balfour Limited. Clear? Excellent. Let's look at the last structure, which is the question. So what did we say? What verb to be are we using here? Are. So just like we've done for Suzanne and we did for the young businessman, we will use the verb to be are and we will bring it or drag it to the beginning of the sentence. Okay? So here we say are Jack and Marvin engineers at Balfour Limited. Now, if we're sure that they're engineers at Balfour Limited, we say Jack and Marvin are definitely engineers at Balfour Limited. That's the positive. If we're not so sure, we'll say no. Jack and Marvin are not engineers at Balfour Limited. Clear? So far so good? Excellent. Now, in our next example, we will be looking at the life of Jordan Smith. He'll be telling us a little bit about himself, his family, and it's a good opportunity for us to recap what we've learned so far. Okay? Hope you've enjoyed so far. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Now, we can see here Jordan Smith. He is clearly sitting in front of a computer. It looks very serious. Okay, he's working in an office. Okay, let's try to find out more about him. Okay, let's read together. My name is Jordan Smith. My name is Jordan Smith. So what verb to be did he use here? Did he say my name am Jordan Smith? No. My name are Jordan Smith. It's not more than one person. It's only one person. But why is it that we used is instead of am? If it was the case of I, he could have said I am Jordan Smith. But here my name, okay, it's clearly different to I am. So the correct answer here is. It is as if he's saying about himself, he is Jordan Smith. But instead of saying that, he's referring to himself and he says, my name is Jordan Smith. Okay? Good. Let's continue. I am 35 years old. Now you see, what did he use here? What subject? I. And what was the answer? In terms of verb to be, am. And what is the condition that he's talking about here? His age. Okay? His age. So, firstly, he told us about his name, Jordan Smith. He used is. Secondly, he told us about his age, that he is 35 years of age. Okay? That's the second thing that we know about him. Let's continue. He says here, I am an engineer at Balfour Limited. Excellent. Again, he used I. So clearly, the correct verb to be is going to be am. But what condition did he refer to here? Before he told us about his age. The second thing that he told us is about his job. And what's his job? An engineer. He's an engineer at Balfour Limited. Clear so far? You see, the verb to be is slowly telling us something about Jordan Smith. Let's continue. I am from New York. Wonderful. Now we know where he lives. Okay? Now we know where he resides. Is another way of saying where he lives. So he resides or lives in New York. So we know three things about him, okay, so far, okay? He is an engineer. He's 35 years of age. And he lives where? In New York City. Okay, let's continue. I am married. That's the fourth condition. Okay, I am married. He's still talking about himself. I. Okay, let's see. Does he talk about his wife? My wife Mary. My wife Mary is a doctor. Now, instead of saying my wife Mary, what could be a good replacement? What could be a good substitute? She. So if we had the subject she is a doctor. All right, but he wants to tell us a bit more about his wife. Okay, so my wife, she, Mary, is a doctor. All right, so we know five things about him. He's 35 years of age. He's an engineer who works at Balfour Limited. He lives in New York City, and he has a wife by the name of Mary. All right, so four things. Let's continue. We. Now he's talking about himself and his wife. So he uses we. Okay. What do you think is the verb to be with we? Are. Correct. So let's continue. We are a small family. Okay. We are a small family. Right. My son, meaning he, right? My son is 7 years old. He is, okay. So now we know a couple of things. Okay. In addition to those 4 or 5 things we talked about, he has a son. Okay, and his son, he is 7 years of age. All right. So you could tell it's just a very brand new family. Okay, no more than 10 years probably. And my daughter, excellent. So he has a daughter now, which is a nice combination, a boy and a girl. Okay. Yin and yang, as we call it. Okay. My daughter is 3 years old. So she is 3 years old. So you could see in this beautiful, short, crisp recap of Jordan Smith, we've covered everything. We've covered all the subjects. Okay, almost. So he talked about his career, his job, how old he is, the name of his wife, the name of how old his son is, how old his daughter is. Okay, and the most important thing that we understood is that the verb to be's, most importantly, tell us about the situation or the condition of that person at that time. Okay, are we clear so far? I hope you've enjoyed the revision. All right, excellent. Now, thank you so much for coming and taking part in this lesson. I really enjoyed teaching you. I hope you liked the lesson as well. Okay, we have a nice YouTube channel, and we're trying our best to encourage people who don't speak English fluently to get to know English. And English is not really that hard to learn. It's an easy subject. So my name is once again Yusuf. Thanks for watching the verb to be lesson at English with Yusuf. We will be posting more videos relating to grammar, relating to vocabulary. I'm also a specialist in English for specific purpose. I like to teach business vocabulary as well, and you will be seeing more videos coming your way. So please, as always, press the like button, right? Tell us what you thought of the lesson, how we can, improve the quality. Share the lesson on Facebook, share the lesson on Instagram, if you can on Twitter, okay? Share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe. And definitely I hope to see you soon, and take care, look after yourself. Goodbye for now, but it won't be the last time. All right.